After a year's hiatus, we are back in Mexico City for the third round of the ABB FIA Formula E World Championship, the Mexico City E-Prix. After racing in the nearby city of Puebla last season, the all-electric racing series is back here at the circuit of Manos Rodriguez for the next installment of the Season 8 title fight. We had a doubleheader in Diriyah to start the season. Nick de Vries and Eduardo Mortara won those races. After Mexico, there's a bit of a break until we get to Rome, Monaco, Berlin, new events in Jakarta, Vancouver and Seoul, rounding off the season in August. The drivers arriving a little bit earlier on. Sam Bird feeling punchy. And he was followed by the two Nissan drivers who struggled in the opening weekend of the season in Diriyah. Sebastian Buemi on the left, in the middle Max Günther, on the right Francois Sicard. Antonio Felix da Costa also left Diriyah with 0 points. The Season 6 champion looking to get back on track. Mitch Evans got 1 point at least in Diriyah, one more than da Costa, but still not as many as he would have wanted. There is a look at downtown Mexico City, a wonderful historic circuit, and this is how the championship looks after those two races in Saudi Arabia. Eduardo Mortara top of the standings, 4 points clear of reigning champion Nick de Vries. The other Mercedes of Stoffel van Dorn is just behind. Lucas de Grassi is in 4th place, Jake Dennis 5th. But then some big hitters, Antonio Felix da Costa, Sebastian Buemi, Mitch Evans only picking up 1 point as well. They have their work cut out over the remainder of the season. They need to get their championship challenge back on track as soon as possible. And that dominance we saw for the Mercedes EQ powertrains means that both of them are at the top of the championship. Rocket Venturi are on 58 points, Mercedes-Benz EQ are on 57 points, well clear of Avalanche Andretti, who are in 3rd place. My name is Jack Nichols, alongside me here is IndyCar legend Dario Franchitti. And it's good to be back at the Circuit of Manos Rodriguez, Dario.
It really is, Jack. It is a lovely location. 2.6 kilometres, 16 corners. Turn 1, a bit tighter, we think, than in previous seasons. Just moved the apex wall out just a little bit. Fairly long run up to turn 1. Turn 2 is really all about setting up for turn 3. Bumpy at apex, difficult braking zone. Turn 4 makes turn 5 and 6 blind. A long run up to turn 9, a fast flowing corner as you enter into the Forosol baseball complex. Turns 10, 11, 12 taken as one corner, off camber really. You see the attack mode activation zone between 11 and 12. And then through the Peraltada, turn 16, absolutely flat out. Just torching the tyres all the way through as you have the long run up to the finish line. And that is a lap of Mexico City.
Well, gates opened at 7 a.m. this morning. They were already starting to crowd around when we arrived and waiting for the gates to open. And you can see they're starting to filter into the Forosol baseball stadium already. 26,000 people this stadium holds, and I'm sure it will be absolutely rammed come the race later on. But the hardcore are here before 8 o'clock in the morning to watch free practice 1. Full credit.
Absolutely right, yeah. It looks like quite an overcast day, so not too torturous in the sun there. As you see, championship leader Edo Mortara had a great weekend in Saudi Arabia. That is a funky helmet design, Jack.
He loves funky helmets, doesn't he? I really enjoy it.
It's great for us because we can actually pick out the difference between the cars, which is not can be said for all the teams out there. That black Venturi looks really, really cool.
Nick de Vries is 2nd in the championship standings. The reigning champion looked to be carrying on where he left off, really, with a win in the first race in Diriyah and then pole position, but it wasn't to be. But definitely a strong start for the Mercedes EQ guys and the Venturi team.
Yeah, Lucas de Grassi's first race in Venturi, really, really strong, and he's got a great record here in Mexico City, so watch out for big things from Lucas de Grassi today.
So de Grassi is 5th in the championship coming into this race. Robin Freitz is 6th in the championship after finishing 2nd in the 2nd race in Diriyah behind Eduardo Mortara. De Grassi finished behind Freitz and felt Freitz was a little lucky because he felt he had a better energy strategy, but it finished behind the safety car. Light goes green, free practice 1 gets underway. All the cars peel out of the pit lane and get on track and on their way, and it's the two Mercedes who are at the front, as they are the reigning champions. They will always be first on track this season. Yeah, and that's a nice advantage, especially mid-session. If you get a red flag or something and you're short of time, you can get out there and you get clear track, where you see all the different, the DS to cheat, the DS to Cheetahs and Visions, the Andretti cars. They've all got to sort of slow down and try and get some clear track ahead of them, whereas the Mercedes guys just get straight out.
You see turn 3 and the surface change. I think we're going to be talking about this a lot today. That the wall and the exit took some fairly sizable victims. Sam Bird and Stoffel van Dorn in the last time we were here a couple of years ago.
Both of who were fighting for the podium. Then we come to this loop at turns 5 and 6. Then the run down towards turn 9, which is this 90-degree right-hander that brings them into the Foro Sol Baseball Stadium, where we saw Sam Bird actually make a great move on Andre Lotterer. He's the second car in that queue. There's attack mode on the inside. The two Mercedes cars practicing it immediately. Mitch Evans not, Sam Bird is. So interesting strategies.
And there's 3 sensors in that area between the red and the blue lines. And they're spaced out actually more towards the middle and end of the attack mode activation zone. So you'll see people trying to carry more speed through turn 10 and cut in later and later to the attack mode to obviously minimize the time loss. But you can't get it wrong, as we saw Stoffel van Dorn do in Saudi Arabia.
Here comes Van Dorn down towards turn 1, followed by his teammate Nick de Vries, who had a mechanical failure here last time we were here, went straight on at turn 1 and wiped out Robin Freitz. And a reminder then that these cars at the moment will be running in 220 kilowatts of power, which is going to be the group format qualifying power, and then we will see them either activating attack mode or turning up to full power to do 250 kilowatt practice runs as well. But the two Mercedes here look to be doing a little bit of maybe slipstreaming practice earlier on, or is Nick de Vries just going past? He's just going past. Yeah,
I expect to see some slipstreaming today between teammates. The straights are so long here, and it's going to have such a big advantage. And you mentioned 220 kilowatts of race power, 10% more than last time we were here. This is an energy-hungry track that you really, anything you can do to save energy to allow you to use that power is going to be, greatly accepted. The cars are sliding around a bit more than I thought. Maybe the grip level is less than the teams were expecting.
Full course yellow deployed just to test everything is okay and good to go. And the marshals get some practice in. Experienced marshals here, having done the Mexico City race since season 2. And of course the Formula 1 race here as well. And each of the marshals' posts were having their photo taken this morning in the dark as they got ready to go. Scott Elkins down at the bottom there. And the rest of the gang in race control overseeing what's going on. There's Max Günther ahead of Sebastian Buemi. Buemi's been on the podium here the last 2 races in Mexico City.
Yeah, he's got a great record here, much like Lucas de Grassi. I mean, Lucas de Grassi's won a couple of times, and the first race he won as well, but he was disqualified, and his now team principal Jerome D'Ambrosio took the victory. So yeah, this is a great tactical racetrack, and I think fits Lucas de Grassi's way of racing perfectly.
No, they're not spacing out much, are they, on track? They're all sticking together in these early stages. There's Oliver Rowland at the back of the queue, who made it through to the dual qualifying stage in both races in Diriyah. Nick Cassidy has a new helmet for this race, which is just slightly different to his old one, and he's got Jean-Eric Verne looking very busy to try and get past him. They're all very close together, I feel like. You can't be getting much learning at this point, presumably.
Well, I think they'll be doing more race practice, and we talked about in Saudi Arabia that the teams really just focused so much on qualifying and didn't do much race running. I think there might be a slightly different way of thinking today, and they really have to figure out what's going to help them go quickly in the race. 45 minutes plus a lap this afternoon.
Hashtag Mexico City E-Prix if you want to get in touch. And there's a DS Techeetah just getting bored of all of the kerfuffle, slowing down and getting himself a little bit of room. I think it's Jean-Eric Verne. It is indeed. And he now gets going again. Now he's got a bit of space, but Rowland, who'd given himself some space, now has Verne right in front of him.
Such is the frustration of practice and qualifying. We definitely will see some of that in group qualifying this afternoon. As you see Antonio Felix da Costa in the black and gold DS Techeetah going past the Jaguar of Mitch Evans, actually of Sam Bird.
Goes to Costa. Missed his light on the qualifying duels after he made it through and was wiped out in race 1 after a difficult qualifying. Contact at the first corner between about 4 drivers. I think it was Da Costa, Askew, Tictum and one other who I can't remember.
Yeah, Da Costa said he had a bad start. It was a problem, a technical sort of failure on the start. And he said, yeah, it's one of those things. He said the drivers, like sharks, smell blood in the water, and they all just attacked, and he got sandwiched, and yeah, that was his day was over. And I went out this morning with Bruno Correa in the safety car, and I was actually surprised when doing track walk yesterday. I was actually surprised how bumpy certain parts of the track are. Forosol Stadium, for instance, turn 3. You can see them already sliding, even at 220 kilowatts. The car sliding around. It's going to get pretty tasty there this afternoon when the tyres have got a 75% of a race distance on them.
So Evans goes quickest, Buemi in second position. Here is Da Costa, never won in Mexico City, but always loves coming to the South American races, he was saying yesterday. Whether it be here or, I know we're not in South America before I get atted on that one, but you know what I mean, the sort of Latin America region, let's call it. Less than 24 minutes to go, and Da Costa coming now back into the stadium section.
And we have a yellow at turn 1. Somebody gone down the escape road, I would imagine.
Oliver Askew went down the escape road yesterday in shakedown. He was the first driver out on track and just went straight on. It was so dusty and dirty. You'll also see them going really wide at turn 1, and I don't believe that track limits are going to be enforced, so they can go all the way out over the white line on the way into that corner if they want to. We'll see it in a minute when Da Costa comes down into 1.
Yeah, if you watch my track guide later on, you can talk. It's basically from grass to wall to grass,
yeah.
And on the exit of 1, as they get close to the grass, there's almost a jump in the surface with a drain there. So you might see Da Costa, and then watch. Right, we'll see Askew here.
Okay, well I mentioned he went straight on yesterday.
I lost the back end, locked the rear. It's probably
it's Sims.
Sims trying to do some regeneration and just lock the rears a little bit. Yeah, but there's a lovely jump just on the exit, just there. Still got a yellow. Somebody down there.
Someone else is down there as well now. It's certainly a tricky part of the circuit.
I can't see any black
pretty quickly.
lines. Oh, we can hear a car now.
There we go. It was a Porsche. I think it was Lotterer rejoining the track, but that was only a quick flash. So if it was Lotterer, I'm pretty proud of myself. Nick Cassidy has returned to the pits. Everybody else still on circuit.
It was Lotterer.
Yeah.
A bit early in the morning for that kind of commitment, Jack.
22 minutes to go. Lotterer had actually just gone quickest before he went straight on there. Impressed me in Diriyah Lotterer.
Me too.
Really good in qualifying both days. Made it through to the duels on both days and wasn't too messy. Sam Bird felt that his Diriyah was not what he wanted. Obviously,
wow.
Into turn 9.
You can see him again trying to regenerate, put energy back in the battery by the rear axle just locking a little bit, and off he went. Yeah, Lotterer, I mean, a lot of the seasons previously, he's kind of overdone it, hasn't he, in defending and in race battles, which is not really like him. But I thought he struck a very good balance in Diriyah, and he put the car exactly where he needed to be. And at that point, I think he was definitely giving a bit of frustration to Jake Dennis in the Andretti car. I think Jake learned a few lessons that day from the older driver.
Yeah, and he qualified well as well. He was out-qualified 10-4 last year by Verline, but it was 2-0 in Diriyah. There's James Barkley, the Jaguar TCS Racing team principal. Not a huge amount of points for Jaguar in the opening race of the season. Sergio Sede Camera at Dragon had a reasonable weekend. Obviously, Dragon are going to be struggling this year with not the best powertrain on the grid, but compared to his teammate Antonio Giovinazzi, who admittedly was in his rookie season, Sede Camera had a solid enough weekend, sliding the car as he always is.
He's always on maximum commitment, isn't he? I think the powertrain in the back of the Dragon Penske car, it's got more room to develop as the season goes on. I think a lot of the other teams have got closer to the limit of basically last year's powertrain continued into this year, and I think it's got more headroom to develop this car and be competitive as the season goes on. But again, it comes down to budget, number of people. Sede Camera is absolutely on the limit, isn't he?
He certainly is. Verne has just gone quickest on a 1 minute 8.779. Sede Camera is 1.1 seconds down on that, but you wouldn't know it.
I'm just loving the drift through the Peraltana. That's fantastic.
Only Sims has gone into full power so far in this session. No, Gunter might have had a run through as well, but most of these laps are coming in at 220 kilowatts. Sims, as I mentioned, has gone up to full power then for a very early 250 kilowatt run, Alexander Sims.
Yeah, with how low the track grip is, that's It is a bit early because I think you're definitely going to see a lot of track evolution through the next 90 minutes of this session and then the next half an hour of practice before qualifying early this afternoon. Sims is still pushing somewhat. See how he brakes for turn 9. Gentle braking into 9, again, trying to carry momentum. Don't worry about the white lines, you use all the road up to the wall. Back over to the right. And I was amazed again this morning how off camber this whole sector of track is. And how bumpy it was.
Whoa, that's aggressive. I think that was Turvey chucking it around the stadium. The back end was all over the place. Sims coming now out across the line. Is this going to put him to the top of the times? No, he comes into fifth.
I was thinking, hang on.
Yeah, because he'd gone full power, hadn't he? But,
yeah, he's not gonna go quickest doing that, is he?
No, absolutely not. Sims returns to the pit then. Roland there. Here's Oliver Turvey. Both of his notable Formula E moments, if that's not too rude a thing to say, have come here in Mexico City. His first pole position in season 3, his one and only pole position, and his one and only podium in season 4. He was leading the season 3 race, but then the car broke down on his 30th birthday, I think it was, as well.
How do you remember this stuff?
I haven't crashed at 220 miles an hour on multiple occasions. I think that's why.
Yeah, you might be right. The Turvey is absolutely pushing the limit. Look at the front brakes glowing. Look into the front wheels and you'll see the brakes absolutely glowing as Turvey fights to the limit. Turvey needs to make stuff happen this year. I mean, he really, you know, he's had a couple of, I mean, he's
not much competition.
Well, last year I felt, you know, Tom Blomqvist actually stacked up very well against him, but yeah, he needs to make something happen because you can't sort of stagnate in that position, no matter the equipment, for too long. Nice to see him, and nice to see him and Neo move up the grid a little bit.
Absolutely. The Neo team, who have undergone a bit of a restructuring over the last few years. There is Lucas de Grassi running in 9th place, the Brazilian. A kind of home race for he and the others, because there's no race in actual South America this season.
Yeah, he's only the odd sort of 8-hour flight away.
Yeah.
Sorry. Driver's eye. Hey! Catching a bit of oversteer. Again, trying to keep the momentum. God, you see how hard the drivers are working. Over the bumps. Watch where his eyes go as he gets to the apex of 15. Back to the throttle. This bit's going to be good. Through the Peraltana. Just watch his eyes, where his head's positioned. Watch his hands.
Oh.
There we go. Perfectly balanced through there.
Was that flat?
I think it was flat.
Okay. 220 kilowatts.
I would be telling him it was flat. Otherwise known as driver flat.
Yeah, yeah. You were the guy at Spa, weren't you? That said they're flat, but everyone can see the brake lights.
Yeah, exactly. You know, I never raced at Spa.
You've never even been, have you?
No, I passed it on the motorway once. I know, I'm going to rectify that at some point. I want to do the Spa 6 hours. But did you?
It's some historic thing?
Yeah, GC40 or something. Did you see how the track narrows down into turn 1?
Yeah.
As we see Lucas de Grassi again. Oh no, we see Edo Mortara with the bright yellow helmet.
Esteban on hashtag Mexico City E-Prix says, come back to Buenos Aires.
Yes, please.
Yeah, would love to. It's
Absolutely.
a really cool event in Argentina in the first 3 years of the championship, certainly the first 2.
Remember that chicane at the end of the lap? And then we slide down. Such a good circuit, such a good event. Pascal Wehrlein.
Steak.
There was a lot of red meat, yeah. Pascal Wehrlein last year, Mexico at the Puebla track, dominated race 1, but there was then disqualified as he crossed the finish line because of an administrative error. So that was very tough to swallow for him and the Porsche team. They'll be looking to put that right today.
And Porsche's first pole position came in Mexico City with Andre Lotterer 2 years ago. So they do have a strong record in the country, although Lotterer didn't finish the race. So they have a lot of promise in the country, let's put it that way. But hasn't quite come together for them. Wehrlein's done the fastest middle sector of anyone, so he's going to jump up towards Lotterer's time, and it's a Porsche 1-2. So there's Florian Modlinger, the new boss of the Porsche squad, after Emil Lindsay left the team. Modlinger used to be with the Audi Apps squad before their departure from the championship. So interesting to see what he can do at Porsche, because I think there's a quite a bit of pressure on the German brand. De Vries has changed tyres and is heading out onto the circuit. Sebastian Buemi, whenever I see him coming through that corner, I just think, ce n'est pas possible, because that's when he ran out of energy here in, what was that, season 5?
Yeah, they need a good day. The Nissan squad really, yeah, they need good things to happen. There's Jake Dennis.
14th at the moment, but just starting a lap. Verline's improving on his lap. Vern's improving on his lap too. There's Dennis, who is 4th in the championship. Only he and De Grassi finished in the top 5 on both days in Diriyah. Looked maybe a little wide at 5 and 6.
Yeah, no, definitely. Had to over slow from the first apex into the second, and he's got a bit of traffic now.
Ticked him.
Yeah, Jake Dennis just looks like he belongs now, doesn't he? He's just got the confidence about him, and yeah, the Andretti car, very strong, and he's driving it ever so well. God, using absolutely all the road between turns 11 and 12. That's a new line. He's got the Jaguar ahead of him. Sam Bird.
Flash through the Peraltada.
You saw with Pascal Verlaine, he used a very wide entry into Peraltada. He got into the dust, but he's trying to sort of cut the angle down on exit to limit the oversteer at the second part. Look at that camera at the apex wall of turn 1. But yeah, we saw him do that. That line might start to come in as the day goes on.
Lotterer to the top of the times. 1 minute 8.539, 600ths ahead of Freit, so 10th ahead of Verlaine and Vern as well in 4th position. So the lap times continuing to come down. Sam Bird, in fact, Sebastian Buemi's on a quick lap. He's up in the first sector. I think that was Gunter coming into the stadium section in the Nissan. Bird has backed off to give himself a little bit of space. Someone goes straight on at 9, and that was Ticktum in the Neo. You see James Barkley again. Jaguar in that first weekend, picking up just 13 points. 6th in the championship as Van Dorn comes into turn 1.
I think the hard thing about the Jaguar weekend and the 2 races in Diriyah, I guess our expectations were so high going in. So, you know, the 4th place from Sam Bird was like, yeah, not what we're expecting. So hopefully they have a turnaround this weekend and can bring the fight to Mercedes, so that the Mercedes powertrain car, so that we can have this battle up there. And then we've got the customer Audi team of Envision, who look very, very strong too. The customer BMW team of Andretti is, I think it's a similar story.
Falcon on hashtag Mexico City E-Prix says, does Jack just rewatch all the previous races prior to the race weekend to measure all these facts about the drivers? No, I don't actually. Maybe I should.
He's just got very good memory.
Yeah.
You see Verlaine on a lap. He's got a bit of traffic ahead of him, but
he's very quick in the middle sector. He's over a 10th up. Vern's very quick, 3/10 up. They're both on full power laps at the moment. So here comes Verlaine out of the final corner. If the part above the driver's head is flashing, whoa, then that means they're on full power again. That was the sort of going wide on the dust thing.
Yeah, and I don't know if he's actually losing time. I think he is through that last sector, you know, 22.0 is his last sector time. It's just not, I don't think it's working yet. As I say, it might start to come in as the rubber goes down. Jean-Eric Verne to the top of the times in the DS Techeetah with a 108.1.
Gunter is just gearing up for a lap. Dennis behind, I think, is on one as he comes through the final corner, Jake Dennis. He's 4/10 away from Verne's lap time, so he might sneak into the top 10 here, Dennis, in 8th position. And here comes Gunter into the first corner. Nissan got their tyre strategy basically completely wrong in qualifying in Saudi Arabia, and then combined with a few mistakes and people getting traffic, they were kind of nowhere. But we'll see what Gunter has here. He'll come through the first sector just after this right-hander of 5 and 6, and he's 4/10 down in sector 1 on Lotterer.
Yeah, not great power down either, as we see him use all the road. Jake Dennis actually was on the curb and a bit over the curb coming out of the last corner. You can see the drivers, when they're at 250 kilowatts of power, just fighting for grip through that last sector. We have another yellow at turn 1. Someone's gone off, and you can see into the Forosol Stadium, bit of tyre lockup as well. So it's all going on out there.
Kaylee says Jack only rewatches races where Robin does well. Hashtag Mexico City E-Prix.
I did notice in your notes that you prepared, Jack, which are wonderful, by the way. One of the statistics is Robin Freins was the only driver to complete every lap in Season 7.
Yeah, correct. That's why I loved Season 7 so much. Me and Robin, we did every lap. It's Antonio Felix da Costa coming down into turn 1 at full power.
Oh, wow. Big problem there. I mean, as soon as he touched the brake pedal, it locked up, so he'll be going back and asking the engineers to... Wow.
Whoa, goodness me.
Yeah. He'll be asking the engineers to reprogram the brake-by-wire system at the back. It's Nigel Beresford, ex-Penske IndyCar man for many, many years.
That looks a bit of a scary one, to be honest.
Yeah, I'm glad there was a lot of runoff.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the brake-by-wire system on the rear axle combined with the mechanical braking system on the front of the rear axle sort of all has to work as one, and that didn't. You can see Nick de Vries through turn 7 just cutting across the grass to shortcut. Let's watch him braking for 9. He'll run it right out to the wall. Don't worry about the white lines. That's not a track limits issue. Oh, slides again. I've got another yellow flag at turn 1. Look at the bumps.
4 tenths down after the middle sector, Nick de Vries, even though he's at full power. It's so bumpy through that exit.
Yeah, and the Mercedes car does not look like it's handling the bumps very well, but it might be set up more for the Peraltada corner. And I had to lift.
Yeah.
He's really low on grip.
Rumbles over the curbs, and Nick de Vries goes 6th fastest, but 4 tenths away from Andre Losserer. Sebastian Buemi has slotted into 2nd place there. Giovinazzi now goes up into 6th position, which is pretty impressive. This is Alexander Sims into turn 1. Bails out of that one.
That's a very weird feeling, because your brain is already committed to the corner and your inner ear's already committed to the corner. When you turn out of it, it really can mess up your balance. Yeah, that was discretion was definitely the better part of valor there.
Dilbag Gil said yesterday that he loves Mexico City, but it's broken his heart too many times. Obviously the famous one in season 5 where Wehrlein lost the win right at the end, but there was also Rosenqvist breaking down from pole position in season 4, I think it was, and a few others he mentioned. Bird goes 11th for Jaguar, half a second away from Lotterer. Here's Lucas de Grassi into turn 1.
Ah, the famous turn 1. It's very difficult to pick out a braking spot. Yeah, look, just as the inside front becomes unloaded, as the car rolls over, less pressure on the inside front, starts to lock up, and you saw the result. It's very difficult. There's not many reference points in turn 1 to brake consistently at the right spot.
So I know I'm going to talk about Robin Freins again, but he was telling me yesterday he doesn't use, as we see Eduardo Mortara, he never uses reference points.
Just instinct.
On track, yeah.
When he gets scared, just decides to brake.
Yeah, exactly. And apparently, like, I can't remember what it was, Da Costa said to him, Da Costa was going to a track that Freins had been to before or something. Might have been Le Mans or something like that. He's like, oh, so where do you brake for this corner? And Robin says, I don't know, just when it feels right. Which is feels fairly rare.
Yeah, I mean,
or is it kind of a 50-50 split, people who use braking points and people who just guess?
Yeah, it depends on the corner as well. It depends on your feeling for the track.
Oh, he said if the corner has a blind apex, he's rubbish. Because he can't work out where to brake for.
That's handy in Formula E.
I know.
99.7% blind corners. Yeah, I love the blind apex corner for some reason.
Really?
Because the thing is, when you commit to that apex, you've got to know what's on the other side.
Yeah.
That allows you to commit the maximum speed in there. And yeah, if there wasn't a blind apex, that was fairly useless, but blind apex is not too bad.
You couldn't see where you were going.
Yeah, exactly. It definitely helped.
Mitch Evans dominated here 2 years ago.
Yes. No other word for it. It was a great battle behind him, but he sailed off into the sunset. It was such a close battle behind him. He was just gone. I think what happened there, the guys behind him had a bit of got into a bit of a fight, and Mitch took the advantage to break the toe and just drive off, and then they didn't have the energy available to close that gap again.
Here comes Evans through the Peraltada.
Looks well balanced through there.
See him soaring at the wheel, and he goes 5th quickest, 3 tenths away from Lotterer, who's actually improving on this lap as well. He's gone 100th up in sector 1. Wehrlein's gone a 10th up, so both of the Porsches are flying at the moment. 5 minutes to go. They're both on a full power lap, and none of the others are. Here is the aforementioned German coming into the final corner.
Look lovely again through there, Andre Lotterer. What they've got to do, the Porsche guys, is chase the track grip. As the grip goes up on the track, they've got to make sure that they can keep the setup in its window. That was a punchy lap from Andre Lotterer.
It's just gone 6/10 quicker than anyone else. 1:07.509. New manager bounce for Florian Modlinger. Here comes Eduardo Mortara now out of the final corner. Championship leader after the first 2 sectors. He's half a second away. He was quicker than Lotterer in sector 1, but half a second slower in sector 2.
And the car's just sliding across the circuit. I wonder if they're running the same mechanical setup as the Mercedes EQ factory team or not. Those cars are not working on this bumpy circuit so far. But a lot of work going on between free practice 1 and free practice 2.
Costa, De Vries on full power. And where is he? He's 6 thousandths up in sector 1. We'll get his sector 2 split just here.
Let's see what the car's like over the bumps this time. Using all the road again. Yeah, it looks a bit better. He's able to get the car stopped.
2/10 down though.
I mean, look again over the bumps in 13. Just not happening. See how much it slides through here. Yeah, again, a big slide in the middle of the corner.
Here comes De Vries out across the line, and he goes 3rd fastest, 3/10 slower than Andre Lotterer. So Porsche 1-2, Mercedes 3rd, Andretti 4th in Jake Dennis. Stoffel van Dorn is 2/10 down in sector 1. Coming into this final sequence, let's see what he's got in the middle sector on the running clock. He's now 4/10 away. Here come the bumps.
Yeah, look at it, the wheel's straight already and he's at the apex. That's not a good sign.
Broke the camera, it's so bumpy.
Yeah. And again, let's see how they get a little bit of traffic. A tighter line through there, so he's probably going to pay the price on exit. Yeah, you see the car now had to lift to get the car tucked in. So we have 2 minutes and 45 seconds to go. Stoffel van Dorn up to P6.
6/10 away. The Porsches are in a world of their own at the moment. Look at the gaps on the left-hand side. De Vries has done well to get up into 3rd spot. Here comes Robin Freins into the middle sector, and he's only 600ths away, so might be about to join the Porsches. Oh, the back end looks lively, let's say, as he comes into Peraltada now.
Yeah, not great through 14, but let's see if he kept the momentum up. Decent balance so far. Oh no, lost it a bit in the middle. God, that's going to be a challenge this afternoon.
It's a lot of fun, isn't it? Here he comes then, Robin Freins. He goes 3rd fastest within 2/10 of Andre Lotterer. I think there's a Mahindra off at the first corner. A little nod there for Sylvain Filippi. Tom Blomqvist has come along as the reserve driver this weekend. It's Dragon, my apologies. And it is Antonio Giovinazzi who's off at turn 1. And he will get going again. But that's, oh, it's Sergio Silicamera, my apologies, who's off at the first corner. That could be tricky come qualifying as well, because we saw with Edo Mortara crashing in group qualifying in Diriyah, it kind of ruined everybody else's lap, and we could well see a bit of that here.
Yeah, very similar story with Sergio Silicamera, Jack, just straight on, got on the brakes, and it didn't really want to stop.
There goes Roland, here comes Cassidy. Costa goes 4th quickest. Nick Cassidy is Robin Freins' teammate. Freins up in 3rd position. We'll get Cassidy's middle sector split as he comes through this long left-hander, and he's 2/10 away, so he's got a shot at sort of the top 5 here.
Absolutely cut the corner in turn 12. It was a lovely piece of driving. Got the car stopped, rotated, jumped over the curb a bit.
See whether he's a little neater than Freins through the final corner. He's got the Mercedes EQ up in front of him of Nick De Vries. Whoop. Another bit of a slide, but Cassidy goes into 6th place then, less than 4/10 away from Lotterer. So the Porsches went early, but they're still holding 1st and 2nd at the moment.
There's already massive marbles on the outside of the Peraltada, and that's going to come into play this afternoon when drivers start experimenting or try to experiment with different lines. You hit those marbles, the next thing you hit, excuse me, is going to be the wall.
The quickest in sector 1.
Thanks, Jack.
No worries, I think you covered it up, no one noticed. Here he comes across the line. Jean-Eric Verne goes 8th fastest. Sebastian Buemi's quick as well after the middle sector. So Nissan looking to get back in the fight. Their Nissan Global Motorsports boss, Tommaso Volpe, saying that checker flag is out, that they're not expecting to be challenging at the front this year. Here's Giovinazzi, 15th as it stands. Buemi slots into second place. Giovinazzi, Gunter goes into 6th, so that's reasonable. Giovinazzi is 4/10 down after the middle sector, so he's got a chance at improving his lap time. The Jaguars at the moment are 14th and 15th with Sam Bird right up to the wall on the way in there for Giovinazzi.
This is good to see because Giovinazzi looks so much more at home than he did in rounds 1 and 2 in Diriyah.
Yeah. And he goes 15th, which is not too bad, and ahead of his teammate Sergio Sede-Camera at the moment. No notable lap coming in from Oliver Askew yet. As I say that, Sede-Camera goes quicker than Giovinazzi by a couple of tenths of a second. Out across the line comes Askew, fairly slowly. Is he a bit... Oh, sorry, it's Dennis going slowly. Askew ends the session slowest. Checker flag is out. Everybody completes their laps. And really, Jaguars, strange. De Grassi, 20th. Askew, 22nd. Van Dorn is only 12th. The other Mercedes of De Vries only 7th, so...
Crikey.
Yeah, it's a right old mix-up, isn't it?
It's going to be mega. Absolutely fabulous to see that. For us, anyway, I'm sure the Mercedes EQ people aren't feeling quite as excited about the mix-up in the field, but...
Well, this is the thing. Everybody, well, not everybody, we all got a bit sort of overexcited in Diriyah that Mercedes are going to dominate, etc., etc. But they were very strong in Diriyah the year before. Oh, Mortara, has he touched the wall? No, he's just kept it out.
Well done. Lovely piece of park in there. I think somebody clipped the wall. Let's see it from the onboard. Watch for the snap of oversteer. Yeah, right as he wanted to turn in. Cool. Do you think he closed his eyes?
Yeah. Jerome D'Ambrosio, winner of the first race in Mexico City for the Dragon team, in fact, back then. I think he might have taken pole position as well.
He did.
Practice starts now. Do you think that it would be particularly disadvantageous being on the inside, or it'll be fairly clean on both sides?
No, I think if you're on driver's left at the start, so in the odd numbers 1, 3, 5, 7, etc., I think it's going to be a big advantage today.
Robin Freitz lining up in third place. And
then I think turn 1's going to get really interesting as it narrows down that apex. And we're going to see a few people on the grass on the exit.
We saw Max Gunter in the wall on the exit one year in the Dragon. Freitz and De Vries taking the start.
I think Lautre last year qualified, the last time we were here 2 years ago, qualified well, but he was going backwards and he was just getting bullied and pushed off the track more and more in turn 1, and eventually hit the wall in turn 3.
Because I think he lost the lead. He lost the lead at the start, didn't he? Yes. Evans actually got a better start and robustly made his way past at turn 1.
Yeah, just sort of fed in the shoulder. But this is one of those tracks, I think if you are passing, you're going to have to get a little aggressive this afternoon.
Lights out for Sims and Sede-Camera. Down towards turn 1. Then we've got Nick Cassidy and Lucas De Grassi together. Like a decent getaway actually for De Grassi.
Yep.
They run into the first corner. Still slots in behind Cassidy nevertheless. Then we've got Turvey on the right, Askew on the left. Askew ended up 2 seconds off the pace in that session. Tickton was 1.5 seconds off. Everyone else was within a second. So it was very tight. As they come down into the first corner once more, there's the start for Evans, followed by Verline. So the first half an hour done at the Mexico City E-Prix, and it is Porsche first and third. Andre Lotterer quickest on a 1:07.509. Hugely encouraging lap for Sebastian Buemi in the Nissan Edams car in second position. The other Nissan of Max Gunter in 6th position. Robin Freitz there in the top 4. Da Costa there in 5th position. Nick De Vries down in 7th place. Jake Dennis in 9th. Sergio Sede-Camera in 11th position. And as far as championship contenders go, De Vries is there in 7th place. Cassidy is there too, but championship leader Eduardo Mortara is 14th. Stoffel Van Dorn 12th. The two Jaguars evenly matched, but down in 16th and 17th positions. So a lot of work for the teams and drivers to do in the second free practice session that's coming up a little bit later on this morning. I love the intensity of the single headers, because this is like, I'm already feeling nervous about the day. Whereas double-headers, it's like, okay, this is free practice 1, and then free practice 2, and then race, and then tomorrow we'll do it all again. Whereas this, you've only got half an hour if you want any points from this whole trip to Mexico to work out what you're doing.
There is no time for messing around, is there? That's the beauty of this one-day format.
Next time, just don't say anything on stream, we'll take it later. I didn't see anything.
Okay, not sure what Albie Lau and De Vries are talking about.
I would not be talking if I saw a TV camera. I'd be keeping stum until the TV camera.
Yeah, we've noticed that. It doesn't really work with your links with Vernon.
No, but yeah.
You could do being a bit chattier, to be honest.
Old habits die hard. It's good to see Giovinazzi. I mean, it was 18th quickest, but he's looking a lot closer, a lot more comfortable.
Yeah, absolutely. Whereas he qualified last in both races or qualified slowest for both races in Diriyah, and was last on track at the end of both of them too. As De Vries now makes his way to the back of the garage. Verline still in the car. He'll be doing a little debrief, I'd have thought, on the radio. Because when they're in the car and they plug in, we're not across it. We can't listen to it.
It's an intercom system, yeah.
Da Costa back in the garage. Don't forget, you can get involved in the action as well. Vote for, vote for your favourite driver on FanBoost. You can vote online at fiaformulary.com/fanboost. And at the moment, it's Da Costa who's at the top. Van Dorn, they're always the front runners. Giovinazzi picked it up in Diriyah as well. De Grassi and De Vries, the rest of the top 5. Never known someone take so much care over their eyebrows as Antonio Felix Da Costa, seemingly. But yeah, vote online, fiaformulary.com/fanboost. You're limited to 1 vote per day. Or you can scan the QR code on the bottom right-hand side. So the first free practice session in Mexico City got underway. Mercedes EQ looking to carry on their incredibly strong form, but Porsche looking to upset the party as Andre Lotterer put his helmet on and got ready to go out. Nick De Vries, the reigning champion. Alexander Sims, as the light went green, the Mercedes were first out, followed by the Jaguars. There was some early switching of positions between the two Mercedes. Stoffel Van Dorn ended the session 12th quickest, which is where he started on the grid for the second race in Diriyah. We had many moments at turn 1. This was one of them. Alexander Sims bailing out of it. Jean-Eric Verne across the line. He ended that session in 10th position. Some great driver's eye with Lucas Di Grassi as he fought the car through the final corner. A little tyre swap for Stoffel Van Dorn. Andre Lotterer was looking very quick in the Porsche, one of the earliest drivers to do a full power lap. Big lock-up for Antonio Felix Da Costa, went flying off at turn 1, managed to get it stopped. De Grassi also had a drama at the first corner. Turvey brushed the wall on the exit of turn 3. Giovinazzi brushed the wall on the entry to the Peraltada. Eduardo Mortara, championship leader, could only manage 14th quickest, nearly hit the wall. Sebastian Buemi finished the session 2nd quickest, but it was Andre Lotterer who took pole position here last time, who was quickest in pre-practice 1. So, we'll be back in a bit. Stoffel Van Dorn getting stuck into something seemingly very crunchy for breakfast. They're already getting underway with the debrief at DS Techeetah as well. We'll be back for free practice 2 in 1 hour and 6 minutes time, the second half-hour session, and then we go straight into the qualifying and the new, very enjoyable qualifying format. Lucas Di Grassi, not particularly happy, 20th quickest. What is going on at the Mercedes EQ squad?